People, this is Shaw Harris, and today is another edition of Interviews with the Rebel. And today I am sitting down with broker.
Nah, we're getting there. Owner. So
Owner of
Coastal
Concierge Real Estate. I have my man, Mr. Rhan Pittman. How you doing today, bro?
I'm good, man. Good. Appreciate you. Appreciate you for having me, man. This is an honor, yo. This is an honor. Man, I watch all the episodes, man. Look, to be considered a rebel, like that's kind of crazy.
That's dope.
That's crazy to me. So
yeah, I met you. I think we met probably about 2 or 3 years ago.
It was 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah, did a video, came out pretty good.
Oh yeah, that was one of our early ones, man.
Yeah,
that was one of the first ones that we really did like that.
Really?
So it was crazy. It's funny. We still do it like that, where it's kind of like off the cuff and everything.
Oh, so, that's dope. That's dope.
But yeah.
But yeah, it seems like ever since then, y'all kind of just been booming and growing and everything, man.
We have. We've been out here working. Really, it's been a blessing, man. To, like you said, that growth. You know, I think when we did that video, there was 3. I think it was 3 of us at the time.
Yeah.
We're at 10 now.
Okay.
You know, 2 staff members. We were a small team then. We getting ready to open our own brokerage now.
Okay.
So,
okay.
Yeah, it's been a lot of changes over that time.
But yeah, I see.
I don't know, man. It's one of them things you wake up and you think, yo, when did I get here? You know what I mean? But it's just that thing, you know, you take those same small, consistent steps every day. And next thing you know, you're like, whoa, you know.
Okay.
I always hate to say we here.
Yeah,
because it's never a finished product. It's always evolving.
You're always trying
and growing.
to reach a certain level.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, but we doing some things. We got a lot of solid people.
You feel good in the space that you're at?
Yeah, I feel good. It takes a lot for me to get there because I always feel like if I get too comfortable,
get complacent,
then you get complacent and it goes away.
It's a wrap.
Yeah. We always got to be ever evolving, ever changing.
Right. Okay.
It's
all right. So
for the journey.
So for the people that don't know you, I know I said, you know, a couple of your credentials, but who are you and what do you do though?
So I'm Rhan Pittman. Like you said, I am the owner of the Coastal Concierge Realty Group in Virginia Beach. We are a real estate firm specializing, you know, helping people buy, sell their homes. We do some property management, but that's more so another tool we have for our clients who may need it, you know, so they couldn't sell their house back in the day. But our real thing is the buying and the selling. You know, for me, I like to look at it as I'm never actually really trying to sell anything to anybody. I'm just helping them buy whatever it is they need to do. So I always look at people say, you know, real estate salesperson. I always looked at it as more of a consultant. You know what I mean? And now with the brokerage, being that I'm not really in it so much day to day, it's more of I'm really a consultant because now I'm helping all my agents build their businesses. And that's what it is. So it's really it's like a joint venture. You know what I mean? So they come rock with us. I built a business and I'm pretty sure everybody, you know, they're all entrepreneurs, you know. So we helping them build their businesses, build their brands under our brand, you know. Together everybody eats. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So before we kind of dive deeper into your story, man, I'd like to ask an icebreaker question.
Okay.
So if your life was a movie, we had the Rhan Pittman, you know, biopic.
Oh Lord.
Biopic.
Okay.
And you had to put together the soundtrack.
Not the sound. Ooh. Okay. So here's the thing. I've always been a music person.
Okay.
A lot of people don't realize it. I actually went to college on a music scholarship.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and surprisingly, I wasn't playing the saxophone or nothing like that. I actually played the cello. So I was classical music.
Okay, I thought you was in the band or something.
Nah. I was in the orchestra, you know, from elementary to high school, and it allowed me to go to college. So
what college?
I went Hampton University.
Okay.
So if anyone watched the old podcast, they probably saw the HU gig. So, you know, I always had to shout out my home by the sea. So yeah, but music soundtrack. Okay.
3 to 5 songs.
3 to 5 songs. First song's gonna be God's Plan with Drake.
Okay.
So I mean that's pretty self-explanatory. Okay, so now I'm kind of aged myself a little bit, but one of my big ones was Go Crazy with Jeezy. and Jay-Z.
Okay.
Back in the day, you know, just the triumphant sound of it all with the horns and everything. And there was one line in it which baffles me now because I remember it hit me then and I wasn't even in this space. But I think Jay-Z said, what he said, my peoples love it when I talk like this. What he say? My peoples love it when I talk like this. My corporate people start bugging because I talk like this. Them corporate thugs be like, no, talk that shit. Dope boys go crazy when they hear the boy Jay-Z. And it didn't hit me then because I was still trying. You know, I was in my early 20s and, you know, speaking of the soundtrack, you know, back then I was, what we all was doing in the early 2000s, not all of us, but a lot of us, you know, we was trying to make our record label and do all this stuff. And
I definitely was part of that.
Yeah. I think a lot of us who are in the spaces we're in now probably went through that phase, you know. So it was one of those things.
To do the cool thing, like record labels or be a rapper or whatever.
I knew I wasn't gonna be a rapper. I already knew that part. I've always known from the beginning that whatever my role was behind the scenes and to in a way push others forward. You know what I mean? It's like I that's just how I was kind of brought up.
Right.
So but that line really hit me though, because it was like I knew that was gonna be me and I knew I could only be my authentic self, you know. It's funny because when I first got into real estate, I tried to be a real estate agent, you know. You dress and you got the
suit and tie.
The suits and the ties and the trench coats and thanks for calling. How can I help you? You know, and it's funny because one of my homeboys actually brought me into real estate. You know, he was a broker. Shout out Rhan Pittman. He kind of helped me through this whole thing, push me forward. But he was the one who actually told me, he was like, yo, it's like, I see you around here, you got your suits and, you know, you college education, you're speaking all. He's like, but yo, people like you. You know what I mean? He was like, people like you. So just be you. When I embraced that and grasped that, that's when a lot of stuff really started to change, and I really started to kind of fit in my role a little bit more. But I kind of got way off tangent on that. But so it was that one, Nipsey Hussle, Victory Lap. You know, if you think music for me, I can almost go back
to where
through my life based on what songs I was listening to. You know. On that Victory Lap song, you know, that was kind of the first time I really heard that was right when I was starting all this, you know, and he was sitting on the porch and he was like, you know, I'm prolific, so gifted. I'm the type that's gonna go get it. No kidding, you know? And I was like, yo, that's really me, you know? And so that one really stuck out. And then it was kind of slept on, but I don't think so. Allure with Jay-Z, with Pharrell.
Yeah.
Just the vibe of the whole jump was just so crazy to me. It was fresh. It was sexy. It was dope. It was like, you know. But for me, more so than anything, if you really listen to the lyrics, though, it was really that story of being one place in life where a lot of people have a tendency to get stuck, and coming out of that and elevating, but at the same token, still, again, maintaining that authenticity, because for me, that's just so.
The Black Album is definitely
so
an underrated album.
Oh yeah. A lot of bangers came off of that, Jane. I don't even know how many I just said.
You said like 4. That's cool.
4. Okay, yeah. So it's a bunch though.
Okay. So all right. So since we're here and you're a music head like I am, top 3 album labels, or not album labels? Top 3 albums.
Top 3 albums. Ooh. Okay, for me personally, my top album was God. Of course, I'm drawing a blank, but it was the Wu-Tang joint that came out. Not Enter the 36 Chambers. What was the one? Late 90s. I remember it was like 97. Triumph was on that joint. Obama, Atomic Lee, Socrates, philosophies, and prophecies. I can't remember, but I remember. So that was the one to me, like we was literally skipping school to go get the album. And kids don't do that anymore because everything's at the tip of their hands, but they don't even realize what that was like though, man. So that was one of them. Ooh, it's so many. Some of my top albums though are actually albums people don't even know of. And it's funny because I can't even remember the names. I just know what the album cover looks like. So growing up, my mom had mad records. So Earth, Wind and Fire, you know, Herbie Hancock, some of those. They did the songs that were the basis for a lot of what we hear now.
Yeah.
Those are the ones I like, you know. Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes before Teddy P was Teddy P, when he was just singing throughout the whole song.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Teddy P was pretty much the lead singer.
He was the lead singer, but you know, but yeah, that man, it's too many to name. It's hard for me to pick one.
I got you. Okay. All right. So what is the Rhan Pittman origin story? What's the story, or what's the story that got you to what we see today?
It involves a lot of people, a lot of circumstances, a lot of situations. So I was actually born in Portsmouth, but at an early age, you know, we moved to Virginia Beach. Right. My mother.
What part of Virginia Beach?
We was in Green Run.
Okay.
So yeah, Pecan Gardens is where I grew up. But see, my grandparents lived in Kings Grant, and this is really what made me who I was, because on one token, I was with my mom in Green Run, and that was a certain way of life, right? But then when we got to a certain age, well, not even a certain age, even in elementary school, my mom would take me to my grandparents' house, and we would go, because she had to work.
Right.
So we would go there, go to school from their house, so that way when we got off the bus, we could go home. Now they lived in Kings Grant. And where I was growing up in Pecan was two totally different worlds, you know? So it was almost like having that foot on both sides of the fence. When I was out Green Run, all my friends was black. You know, everybody I knew was like me. Right. But then I also grew up in Kings Grant. So I grew up in two places. So I grew up in Kings Grant, which was predominantly a white neighborhood, you know? When my granddad built his house was in the 50s. And that was there's a section where it was like 6 or 7 well-to-do kind of black families. My granddad was a preacher. So, you know, in the 50s, being a preacher was akin to being a politician, community leader, whatever. But that's where they tucked them, because it was away from everybody else. And then people started to realize, oh, there's a river back there. It's prime land. Then they started to build up around them. So that really showed me two different sides to the story. You know what I mean? So especially in, you know how what we're going through in the country right now. So to be able to grow up in that, I always knew how to navigate both worlds. And then I said my granddad was a preacher too. So his church was actually in Norfolk. So off of Brambleton Avenue, Metropolitan. So, all over the place. So I was all over the place. So on any given month, I could be staying at my friend's house who was, his mom may have been renting a townhouse for like $900. And then I could have stayed at a friend's house who lived in $1 million house on the water. And then the next week, I was staying with my cousins. Well, they weren't my cousins, but you know how that goes. You get with people and they become your cousins, they're your family. But I'd be staying with somebody who
your mom and their mom best friends.
They went to church together. They grew up together in church. Now I'm staying at their house, and they live in the projects. You know what I mean? So wherever I was at, I've always been comfortable. You know, so and that plays a role in what I'm doing now. Like if you look up at the makeup of our company and our team, you'll see it's a lot of diversity. You know, and it's people from all different backgrounds. But we all come together and make it work.
How do you feel like that molded you into who you are today? Because I feel like I kind of grew up the same way. Like when I was growing up, my mom and them had a house out Deep Creek, which was a new development, pretty much like nothing but like white kids out there, and a handful of black kids. But then after a couple of years, we moved back to Portsmouth. Something happened with the house. I ain't gonna get my mom business, but something happened with the house. We had to go back to Portsmouth. But I felt like it kind of molded me, because I felt like, I feel like sometimes black kids, when they around white kids, they feel like they don't belong. So when I was around, these white kids, I played baseball for like 10, 15 years. So I was around like these kids. I never felt like they were better than me or anything like that. I felt like, all right, I used to live in the same neighborhood y'all lived in. So it's like, I didn't feel like I didn't belong. I was like,
you hit the nail on the head. When you ask how did it mold me or make me who I am, is I can go anywhere, man, and be comfortable. It don't matter who I'm with. I can be with some cats in the hood and we gonna kick it.
Yeah,
you know, I can deal with people who own, you know, multi-million-dollar corporations and sit in a room and have a conversation with them and be comfortable because I've been having conversations with them people for years. You know, that those were the rich kids, you know, parents. You know, so it allowed me to just be able to and really look at people for who they actually are, you know, versus because I think a lot of times what happens is we see people and we automatically create a perception of who that person is.
Very true.
And then we deal with them not based on who they are,
off your perception.
but based on our perception of them. So I learned early on to just deal with people for who they actually are, not who I think they are or what they're going to be like. So I must always give everybody a shot, you know. Now, if you violate at that point, then it's a no-go. And, you know, we move on. Yeah.
Okay. So I know you say you was at Hampton. I know we kind of fast forward the story a little bit. Went to Hampton. What were you doing fresh? What did you go to school for?
Music education.
Okay.
So I was going to be a music teacher. that was the plan, you know. But and it's funny. They always say, you know, if you ever want to hear God laugh, tell them your plan, right?
Right.
So that was the plan. And after my sophomore year, my daughter was born.
Okay.
So at 20 years old, I had a daughter, and me and her mom didn't work out. We actually split up like 3 months after she was born, and she ended up with me. So I ended up
being a single father.
I'm a 20-year-old just finished my sophomore year in college, single father, and that's when some of the bad decision making started. But no, that was so my college experience was a little bit different, you know. So and especially because I was kind of close to home too.
Right.
So and the reason I went to Hampton is going back to being how I came up. So going to school were predominantly, you know, white kids where I want to say, you know what's crazy? From kindergarten to third grade, they was actually busing the black kids in. And we talking like 1985, man. We're not talking in the 60s. Like, we were still busing kids in. But then from like third grade to fifth grade, I was the only black kid, not my class, but my whole grade, you know? So I made a choice when I got to end of high school. I was like, you know, I've been the minority. I want to be the majority. So I was like, I'm going to go to a HBCU. And Hampton, they always said it was kind of like, you know, the Princetons. I don't like to say it's the Princeton of the HBCUs because it's not Princeton, it's Hampton. You know, we're our own thing. You know,
I know a lot of people who went to Hampton.
We our own thing. So you know what you kind of know what it is. So, but nah, it was life changing. You know, it was definitely life changing. I learned a lot about a lot of the philosophies I bring into business now. I learned from those professors in those early classes, those freshman classes, university 101, and all of them. So, yeah.
So all right. So you in school, you got a child. At what point did you decide you like, you know what, I need to get into real estate?
Way after she was a child. I never really wanted to get into real estate. You know, it was one of those things. I'm always down for my people. You know what I mean? So anybody close to me, I'm gonna do whatever I can to kind of help you out. And that's how our whole crew is. You know, my friend group is, we all like 30 years strong. So for me, loyalty is everything. And it's crazy because a lot of people don't get to experience that. Right. So it's definitely a blessing. But one of my friends, and I mentioned him earlier, Rhan Finch, was just starting out his team. And he reached out to me and was like, yo, I'm killing it. It was like 2005, right before the market collapsed. And he was like, nah, we a little bit later than that, actually. He got in 2005, but I think he approached me in like 2009 and said something about getting into real estate. And I was like, you know, I had just got married. My family had grown at this point between, she's my ex-wife now, but at the time we had 3-4 kids, you know. So mind you, I'm still only 29 years old. So
I'm popping them out.
Well, it was kind of hers, mine, and ours, you know. So I had mine, she had two. Then we had one together, which now I'm actually up to 6, you know. So again, same type. That's way down the line. We'll cross that bridge in a little bit. But but yeah, so he reached out to me, and I didn't do it right away, but he circled back probably like a year later, and I really thought about it, and really it was like this: my homeboy needs help. He thinks I can help him. Where I'm at right now, I was working for corporate. We've all kind of had that corporate America experience. But I had hit the ceiling. I couldn't go any higher because even though I went to college, I actually never graduated in that term of, oh, you get the diploma. And I tell people all the time, I ain't graduate, but I definitely got an education.
Right.
So don't get that twisted.
Yeah.
But he reached out, and so because I didn't have that degree, I couldn't go to the next level. So it was crazy because I had kids coming out of college, and some of them I was helping to train, but they were my manager, and I was like, I couldn't. I was like, why not? There's no ceiling cap. My kids were a little older; they were starting to play sports. I was missing a lot of it. I wasn't able to go to. I saw the games on Saturday, but I wasn't there for when it really mattered to go to practice, to help them at home and practice, all that kind of stuff. So I jumped in, man. I had like a week's worth of a vacation left. I took my week's vacation, and I went and sat in the real estate office for a week. So while everybody else would have took their vacation and went there, I went to work. So I went to work and just kind of started learning and stuff like that. And check this out. So I had after I took my vacation, there was one day left for Friday, right? You would think that they'd be like, all right, don't worry. Them jokes made me go to work on Friday, man. I had to run my route on Friday. Yeah. So I had to come back for one day, run my route that weekend, and then I just walked in on that Monday. I think it was June. I still remember the date. I think it was like June 10th, 2010. And that's when my life everything changed,
So did you quit your job?
I quit the corporate. Yeah. I went full on in. I took that week's worth. I gave him a 2 weeks notice. Ran a week, used what vacation I had left, and I just went all in. I went all in. I didn't do the part-time. I never did the part-time agent. I just took a leap, man. And they told me I was crazy. People told me I was crazy.
Yeah, that sounds kind of wild.
It is.
How does that work? Because I know a lot of people say they don't get their first, in real estate, you don't get your first client until 6 months or so.
Yeah, so we had saved up some money, So I did save up some money, had some expenses. So I didn't do it reckless. I didn't just jump out there, Right. But yeah, we did had some money saved up that allowed me to do it. But so when I came in, I joined a team. So I joined actually his team at the time, and the way his team was structured was they fed you leads and things like that. Okay. So I came in June, halfway through June, and I had my first closing that August. So it was about
2 months,
about a month and a half. Yeah. But yeah, I had my first deal under contract within that first 30 days. So
really?
And it's funny because those clients are still clients of mine today. So we were all young. I was 30, so I wasn't that young. But they were young. But so it was just one of those things. I took the leap. I knew the only way to be successful was to go all in. That's how I've done everything in my life. I've never done anything half-ass. You're just not going to get the results you want. So I just dove.
So you can only go so far having like 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
Yeah. Now, there's a few people in this world who can do it, but they're extraordinary, you know, and they built for that, and they're going to hustle. They're going to get it wherever you get.
Right.
But I just know my spirit and who I am. So if I'm doing something, I'm putting everything into it, you know?
Okay. All right, guys, we're just taking a break from this video for one quick second, just to remind you guys that if you're enjoying this video, please consider subscribing to this channel. This channel is all about empowering different creators and entrepreneurs to really live the life that they want to live and make the money that they want to make. So if you like this video, please consider watching maybe the last 2 or 3 videos that we put out, because I know you'll probably like those as well. So before we get back to the video, go ahead and just take 5 seconds, hit subscribe, and you're gonna love every minute of this journey that we're on. So once again, I'm Shy Harris, in case you didn't know, of the Rebel Society, and let's get back to this latest episode. All right, so you say you got your first close after about a month and a half or so.
Mm-hmm.
So at what point did you feel yourself starting to gain some momentum in real estate?
Ooh, that's a tough one because my real estate experience isn't like a lot of people. You know, I didn't come in and automatically crush it and you know, do all these big numbers and all that stuff. The first half of my career was, looking back now, was actually kind of a struggle. I didn't understand it then because I'm all about the chase. I'm all about the journey. So to me, it was always like, this is part of the process, you know.
Right.
I didn't know what everyone else was doing because I've just never been that kind of person to really focus on what you're doing.
Right.
I really didn't know.
Yeah.
So my career was up and down. I would have a great year. Mm-hmm. Then I'm like, oh, I got this. That's where that thing we were talking about.
Getting complacent.
Yeah. I learned that early on, you know. Oh, I got this. If I just do this and it'll go, but then it don't go. So now you're down, and then you go back up, you know. Yep. And you know, I came in a tough market anyway. You know, the market was complete opposite of what we're experiencing now. It was very depressed. Pretty much everything was like a distressed sale, short sale, foreclosure. You had a ton of inventory. So I did foreclosures for probably, after my first year, I ended up getting in, no, it was probably 2 years before I started working with the foreclosures. And then I did those for about 3 years, which it was cool. That's where I learned a lot, you know, about doing deals and things like that. Because we were getting all this inventory from the bank and we were having to list it and put it out there. It kind of became a job for a little bit because it was like, you got to do this. A lot of the flexibility was gone. But then when that kind of started to die off and the market started to recover a little bit, then I had to make a choice. It was like, there was a lot of people who were doing what I was doing and said, okay, I'm going back to get a job. But then I had to say, okay, I had to reinvent myself and now say, okay, how do I do traditional real estate, which I hadn't learned because I'd always been a foreclosure agent. So
how did you pivot then?
Trial and error.
Okay.
A lot of trial and error. So I just, I've always had people around me who were willing to pour into me, you know, so I had a lot of strong mentors in the business even to this day. I still consider, you know, mentors and a lot of people think, man, you've been doing it 11 years. You probably got it all down pat. Right. No, I don't. But you know what I do have? I had his phone. And then if I need something, I got that network. I can always reach out to him and they'll always be willing to help me to this day. You know, I had one the other day. She's based out of Richmond. She called me. It was just like, yo, I'm just so proud of you. I got a referral up here for you. So it's maintained. But again, that goes back to that upbringing of being able to navigate and sit down and talk with anybody and make them all know that at whatever point we're talking, you're the most important person in my life, at least for right now, you know? And when people feel that, they gravitate towards you. They want to see you win. I want to see everybody else win. You know what I mean? And then they want to see me win. So, but yeah, it was one of those things where I had to stop being a secret agent because again, with me being that foreclosure agent, I had the banks were giving us 5-6 listings a week. You know, it was easy. You know, I want to say my first year doing that, I think I sold 56 homes, you know, 2 years in. Now, mind you, I didn't keep in mind, you know, when you're doing the foreclosures, you don't get, a lot of people think, oh, y'all make all this money. Nah, well, you got the splits, you know, you get your commission and then there's splits with the firm and the team and all that. So
doing foreclosures is you get a smaller split than if you were just sold like a...
That's the way ours was structured because I got it from the team that I was on. They kind of, you know, set the splits. Again, I hadn't been anywhere else, so I didn't know. You don't know what you don't know. I thought this was normal. This is how everybody works. There was people around me doing it. They were happy. They were good. So I was like, this is real estate. So, but yeah, so going back to when I was pivoting though, it was just me having to figure it out. So that's what I was saying. I was a secret agent, but so then I had to really start kind of putting myself out there more. I had the experience. I felt a little bit more confident in my abilities. And I I just went to social media and just started making. I look at some of those old posts I did now, and I'm like, yo, how did you ever post that? You know, some of the graphics and things that we was using. A lot of it, I was doing it on my phone. Take a picture of the house. I had an app called like Pic Collage or something. Picture of the house, put some stuff on it, post it up. I thought I was doing it because nobody was doing that. You know, it was always more traditional. You know. So as you know, I did that, and you know, friends and the network again. My village, my tribe is everything. You know, so they want to see you win, and when they feel like, you know, once they got comfortable knowing that I was competent in what I was doing, then they started trusting me and come to me, and once I helped them, then it just kind of, you know, took off from there. And again, still wasn't one of those, I sold $20 million and all that stuff. Because I was doing that, but again, my focus was still more so on the family at the time. Like I said before, when I do something, I go all in. So my kids were in sports, started coaching, and I was coaching football, basketball, did a season or two at baseball. But I really wanted to be that dad. So my dad wasn't, there when I grew up. So that was always a big thing for me and the whole crew. A lot of us grew up like that. And so that was a pact, that unspoken pact we kind of made. But all of us now are probably some of the best fathers of men that I know, you know, and I think it stems from that. And I also say that to say, you know, like I said, my dad wasn't there then, but he's there now. And that was another thing I picked up too, is that sometimes people come in your life when they're meant to be there, you know. My dad wasn't there, but it never bothered me because I had this whole other circle between my mom, my aunts, my grandparents, you know, so I never missed anything. I wasn't missing nothing. And then as I got older, you know, had a daughter, started making some not so good decisions, things that he had went through. He was able to come back in my life at 20, right? Probably when I needed him the most. So he still rocks today.
I feel like, I know somebody said this before, but like your mom is kind of get you through your first couple years, kind of nurture you and all that kind of stuff. But once you get like, especially as a man, once you get like high school, college.
I never really thought about it like that, but that's true.
Like your dad is there to kind of like coach you along those ways.
Yeah. He was there. He jumped in. Not jumped in. He had there was the relationship had always kind of been there. It wasn't super, super thick, but at 20, it was just one of those things. That's why people hear me use the word blessings and stuff all the time, because it's not by design, man. You know, it just happens that way, you know. But he jumped in at 20, and had he not been there, I probably would have made some choices that I couldn't have came back from. But he was able to be like, yo, just think about this. I've been there. These are the consequences. So it gave me enough to pause and say, okay, now we jump in. Now we on that straddle in that line, you know, you're making bad decisions, you know, but I'm still going to college, you know, so I'm still a college student. So it's just being in a bunch of different worlds all at once. So, but yeah, just going back to the real estate, I'm known to go off on these.
You good, man. I like these conversations.
But going back to the real estate, it was just that thing where I just kept pushing, man, you know, and just say learning what works and don't work. You know, I feel like what were some of the things that you realized didn't work? Nobody's gonna wait for you. I don't care who it is. You know, my best friend's parents reached out to me, and I was getting a little busy. You know, they had reached out to me, and I was kind of helping them and going through it, and I took it for granted that because this is his parents, they hear, right? But we didn't really discuss it. And then next thing I know, they ended up, I think they probably bought like a $500,000 house, and I missed out on it.
With somebody else,
you know. And it wasn't that they felt like I was shortchanging them, but because I didn't communicate efficiently when we talked about
That's something that a lot of people don't understand. Communicating efficiently, key to business.
Exactly. And that was the thing, is I assumed, and she assumed, and that's why it wasn't work, because I'm at this house now later. I still love them to death. You know, she's like my second mom. And I came to find out that it wasn't that she thought I dropped the ball. She was like, I saw you doing all this stuff, and I thought you were too busy. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So I missed out on that just because I didn't communicate. And that's what I was saying earlier. Now I've learned that whenever I'm with somebody or dealing with somebody, at that moment, they got to be the most important piece. Because if you take it for granted that they know, we don't know. They don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know. So that was a big one. And then again, you gotta hustle, you know. So now I'm starting to kind of look at how other agents move and look at how they operate. And I'm like, yo, they go hard. Like they always going. And they've been getting it. They've been getting it for a minute, but that grind never dropped off. That grind never fell off, you know. And that's when I said, okay, I gotta go to another gear, you know, because it's like, you know, I go to the gym now. I'm just getting older, so I'm trying to keep my health. But it's that same mentality. It's like if I'm doing something and it's not if I'm working out and it's easy and it's comfortable, then I ain't working hard enough. I'm not getting no gains.
You gotta push yourself to the limit.
I'm not getting no gains. I'm coasting. You know, we're back to complacency. So it was that thing where I just learned I gotta be grinding, I gotta be pushing, and and that's why I say I never feel like I'm there, because in a way that's probably one of my biggest fears now. I feel like if I'm here, then now what? You know, I'm that type. I'm always
that's one of my fears too. Like I feel like I put so much of my journey out there.
Yeah.
So I'm giving people the blueprint of how I do stuff, but at the same time, always got to stay 2 steps ahead of that.
You're one of the ones, actually, now that we talk about it, you're one of the ones that I saw that was like, okay, let's go in second gear. Listening to your journey about you were at, Capital One, something like that.
Yeah, Citibank. Yeah.
Citibank, yeah. You were there and then you kind of did this and you started it. And then when you left to jump out, I was like, that's the blueprint, you know, success leaves clues.
Right.
So, and that's when I just had to really push and go to that next level. But that's just me. I feel I'm always like, what's next? I need more. You know, I gotta have more. Somebody once asked me, they said, when do you feel like you made it? I couldn't answer it because for me, success is a journey, not a destination.
Okay.
You know, so I don't know, man. I just like the process, you know, and I tell a lot of people who rock with me, you got to trust the process, you know, because looking back now, I just turned 41. So looking back now, what I thought was a moment here, a moment there, I realized it's all just been one big process that led me to sitting at the table right now, being interviewed by the Rebel.
Okay. So you said something earlier in regards to like young agents and just kind of seeing them in their process. What are some things that you feel like young agents are doing that are mistakes? And what are some avenues or things that you feel like more young agents should kind of do?
Definitely a mistake is the young agents coming in, and I don't want it to come off wrong because it's not about being a pecking order, but they come in and they feel like they have to prove their worth. Like, I'm young, so for lack of a word, I'm gonna be an asshole. You know, you're not gonna get over on me. You know, they come in and they want to be all hard and man, you catch way more flies with honey, you know, than you do with vinegar. So learning how to work with people, because we all got the same goal, right? We all want to take care of our clients. It's not about us being against each other. We're working with each other, you know. So and I see that with some of the young ones. I see that with some of the older ones too, though. So it's not really, you know, young, old, or whatever. But being willing to learn, being willing to take direction, and one of the biggest things, here's what I've seen with a lot of, I think Instagram and social media has played into it. Everybody wants to be a trendsetter right away. Everybody wants to be an influencer. You know, they want to come in and make all this money. So when they're looking for where they're going to go, they're like, where can I go and keep the most money? You can go a bunch of places and keep the most money, but you still have to work to get that money. You're new. Do you have a sphere? Where is that money going to come from? You know, I need 100% of my commission. Okay, you can have that, right? But if you don't have no business, how much money did you really make? You got 100% commission, but you got $0, right? Well, say I got some people come in on my team and I got some things I do where it's like, okay, well, for this one, we'll do 50-50 on it, right? Because I always believe that I should never make more money than the agents. That's just a personal thing.
Yeah.
But so she's getting 50, but I'm giving her 5 to 10 deals, a month, right? So that 50-50 agent's got 5 to 10 deals a month. That 100% agent got one.
Right.
Who you think made more money, right?
Yeah, you still made more money. Yeah.
They made more money,
right.
So that, that's one of those things, it's more so find the culture that suits you, based on who you are, because there's different ways to do it. You got some people that are hardcore, smile and dial, they're just calling and hitting the phones, boom, 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 boom. If that's not your personality, why are you doing that? Right, that's not going to be you. You got to find somewhere that works with who you are. True. I've never been a hardcore, boom, but I've always connected more with people, so I did great with open houses. Mm-hmm. We do the social media stuff because that allows us to connect. Mm-hmm. A lot of that is just the catalyst for somebody to reach out to me, and then I can just talk to them and meet them, and then we go from there. Yeah. And then at the end of the day is, if they know you, like you, and trust you, they'll do business with you. So, but no, I think it's very important to find a place that suits you, because everybody's going to tell you, we're going to do this for you, we're going to do that for you. They just want to get you in the door. True. Right? You got to interview and talk to the people, that work at the company already and see how they are, what they are, So that's what I would say for, and then one of the bigger things is unless you already have you come from a background where you have a big sphere or you were in a service-based type thing, maybe join a team, and that's where you can kind of grow and learn and let them take some of the stuff off your plate, like with us. People come in, they know you ain't got to worry about marketing. I have people who are with us now and have joined the company because they say, I know I need to do this, but I don't know how. Okay. Or I don't have time because of da-da-da-da-da-da. Like I said, it's a joint venture. Yeah. You're running your play. We're going to do this part for you, handle this. And then it works and everybody wins, because if everybody doesn't win, it's a bad deal. True. Okay. So you said something that kind of segues into my next question. I know you said, marketing is what, your team already covered that for your agents. Mm-hmm. So what do you feel like is something that you spent the most money on that led to the biggest return in your career thus far? Marketing. Really? Our marketing, the videos and all that stuff, so especially in this market right now. Mm-hmm. A lot of stuff is visual based. Yeah, but right now the way the market is with so many buyers in the market and inventory so limited, if you got a good product, you can just put it on the MLS and it'll sell. Yeah, right? At least, that's what a lot of people think, but we still do that because that's who we are. That's our brand, and this market ain't gonna be like this forever. Right. So some of what we do has to be a play and a hedge. Or bet on the future. Like I said, when we did that first video, it was 3 of us. That was only 2 years ago. There's 10 of us, and guess why those other 7 came over? Because they saw it. They liked it. They said, "This is how I want to do my business. This is how I run it." They made a decision. They said, "That's the culture I want to be in. That's the vibe. That's how I want to run my business." Well, let's link up. Let's partner up, and then let's, go get this together. Okay. And there was a lot of people too who told me, you don't need to do this for every one of them, And I was like, I know, but I'm going to. But see, that also goes back to that was my separator, right? Because there's 7. It's probably more than that. Probably about 8,000 agents in here in the area now, right? There's some agents, we know who you are because you're doing $20 million every year. Yeah. That was never me. I told y'all the first half of my career was rough. I probably didn't start really figuring it out within the last 4 or 5. There was a lot of mistakes made. So I didn't have that to lean on. I didn't have that to say, I did this, and this for however long, you know. So I said, but what I always did know how to do was market things and make people want to buy something, make people want to be a part of something. So we're going to do our videos to show you what our culture's like, to show you that we do know how to do this business and we are doing business. And nobody else was doing it, you know. That was one of the goals too, is we wanted to change the way that real estate was done in the area, you know, at a time when nobody was doing that. And everybody started peeping, they started noticing, you know, and people started coming to me and picking up and saying, yo, I want to be a part of this, you know. The whole thing was to just start to really kind of make it a movement. Okay.
So I know you kept going around the word culture. How big do you feel like culture is in real estate?
It's everything.
Yeah.
It's everything. At least for me, you know, but that's again, because I've been raised in that environment in real estate, if you will, where culture was so important. And I've watched it, how you have this culture here, and then there was this need to kind of grow, which is necessary, you know, and I totally get it.
You kind of lose some of the
and
culture.
You lose it, you know, and you lose it, and you can see how that happens. And so, you know, and then you have to circle back and kind of bring it back and kind of go back to the basics, if you will. So, but it's everything, you know. Our company is, it probably sounds cliche, but it's almost kind of like a family. You know what I mean? And it's like every new person who joins almost gets adopted. Like there's certain ways some companies run. Some companies run on a culture of competition. I got to be the best. I got to beat everybody else. We cool, but I don't really like you. I just want to beat you, right? I want to make sure my name's at the top of the board. Right. Then you got companies like ours, where our culture is everybody eats, right? We got the top dogs, and you know what the top dogs are doing? They're pulling the newer ones under their wing and helping them, right? You got some situations where people have that ego where they have to stay on top. So they're not willing to help out
the person coming
the young pup, you know, but we know is that when everybody's strong, and this goes back to my coaching days, when everybody's strong, the team or the unit as a whole is stronger, you know? When I was doing coaching youth football, it was like, you can try to recruit a few studs, you know, but it's 11 people on the team, right? What we did is the studs are going to be studs. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're going to go regardless.
They're going to go. Let's take those mid-level kids and let's turn them into studs, right? But more so than that, let's take that bottom bunch and get them mid-level, right? So now the whole unit is solid. And when the whole unit is solid, everybody goes, everybody wins, everybody eats, because they know no matter who we mess with over here, they solid and they're gonna take care of us, you know. So that's our philosophy, you know.
Gotcha.
And again, everybody's different.
Yeah, true. Okay, so got one more question before we wrap this up. What's next for you, man? No, we talked about complacency the whole time.
Yeah, was expansion. Okay. Expansion. So like I said, we had the team. Let me see. This would just actually be 3 years for the team. We've now expanded and joined the brokerage. First Class Real Estate's actually franchising. So I was able to actually buy the rights. So now I can sell franchises across the country. So we're going to, you know, definitely expansion that way. You know, I'm going to be partnering with people in other areas of the country who I'm already, you know, cool with. We're in the same vibe. Again, let's grow together. Take our company. We're based out of Virginia Beach. Eventually we're going to move to the peninsula. Not sure if we're going to have like a full-on office like we do now, because a lot of stuff is kind of virtual and things, but we will have support for people in that area. Richmond, Northern Virginia, and then slowly
kind of build up,
spread out. Yeah. So I would say in long-term, you know, long-term projections, looking at, let's just say the 20-year portion, I'm definitely looking to be in every area in the country. So, but we start first, you know, and like I said,
slowly build
take
up.
those baby steps, trust the process, and grow. And that's, you know, just like we would, you know, a few years ago, it was 2 or 3 of us.
Right.
Now it's, you know, 10 agents. And again, this is coming from the guy who was never the super top agent, but what I've always been able to do is build a business and run a business. So that's the goal, man. But and more so than anything else, what I'm really excited about is watching all the businesses under us in our brokerage, watching them grow, watching them flourish. That's a big one, you know.
Okay.
I don't want everybody to stay with me forever. You know, my goal is to empower them to get to a point where their brand takes off, their business grows.
That's what it should be.
Which kind of runs back. Man, I just answered a question earlier I didn't have the answer to for a long time. But you know, what does success look like? You know, when do you feel like you made it? When I've empowered them to be bosses and do the same thing. Because I'm not doing anything new. I'm not doing anything different. All I'm doing is what I've been doing my whole career. I'm just in a different seat now. You see what I'm saying? So added some little things to the mix. But
okay, all right, cool. Well, I definitely appreciate you stopping through, man.
Bro, I appreciate you having me, man.
No problem,
I've been waiting. I've been seeing some of the episodes like, yo, he's got some of the most interesting, crazy people.
It's been a lot of crazy
in the area. It was like, I don't know if I could ever, get there, but
like this was definitely a good conversation.
Yeah.
Definitely appreciate it. Just having time to be able to chop it up with you. Like,
Absolutely.
We probably haven't sat down and talked.
It's been a while because we've been busy, man.
Yeah.
Been busy, but
we both got a lot going on. So
I like it. Keep doing what you're doing, though,
you
man.
too, man.
I love this, man. I appreciate you having me over. Yo, definitely blessings.
No problem, man. So if you guys love this conversation, please make sure you follow my man Rhan. But also make sure you follow me, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and just stay in tune with all that we have going on. So that's it for me. You guys stay safe, stay running free, but keep creating, keep shooting, and you guys have a good one.